First, if I could start with a story about when I was in my teaching credential program. I had a professor and he was talking about local high schools. And when we went here, I don't know that we had the scholarship program. And he was talking about, different high schools in the area. And when he talked about our school, he said, those, the fancy cars and this. And when we went here, yes, there was that, but there was also the not so fancy car. I'm Andrea Fisher, and I graduated in the class of 1995.
I'm Jeremy Fisher, and I graduated from Woodcrest in 1994. We have two children in Woodcrest Christian Day School in 6th and 2nd grade, and they started in the system starting in kindergarten. So we met in high school.
But we didn't date.
We didn't date in high school, but yeah.
Realized we might like each other as more than friends.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So some of the fun things I remember from the 90s, during high school specifically, is the mass migration from chapel. I always enjoyed that, everybody walking back to class together up the stairs, and sports day.
The sports day, right? Was that the tug of war?
We were saying we can't believe they actually dug a pit and had the water and people went in,
And he went home just that way too. Yeah. Your parents knew immediately that you lost.
Yeah. But those things were fun.
Taking over McDonald's at 9 p.m. at night after games.
Yeah.
I'm sure that still happens, but those were the fun times.
What's funny is I always felt like going into college, I ended up going to the University of San Diego. And I always felt I could handle anything that was thrown at me academically. So I knew I had a solid education from here. And maybe at first, when you graduate, you need that little distance, but then you do realize how it impacted your life and what it provided for you. And that's really what we wanted for our kids.
For me, it really wasn't until I left and you started to realize what the foundation that you've had, again, from home, from school, from your church. For me, it was going into the military. And when all of a sudden, that safety blanket gets pulled out, and all of a sudden you realize, oh Lord, I need you. And you kind of are forced to rely on some of that teaching and some of the upbringing that you have. And all of a sudden you hear God, He finds you where you are, I guess is the way to say it. So, I would say something I recognized that I didn't going through the system was just how important having biblical teaching in education is. That was something I didn't appreciate at the time. I don't know that I didn't really appreciate it until I sent my own kids here. You really started to realize how important it was. It's just crazy these days. The things that they're teaching in schools, the lack of faith, the anti-American sentiment, I would say, that's taught. I mean, we can no longer be proud of our country. We can't, praise our Creator. We can't worship our God. We're being taught to hate each other. All sorts of different things that not every public school does, but there seems to be a theme through different curriculum that they do. There's just things being taught that are just not what I want my children. I don't want to have to spend my evenings undoing what the children learned all day at school.
It's just so cute when you get their things back from school and you see how much in the Word they are, day in and day out. And that's something that even for me has come later in life, but that they're getting it now,
Yeah, I would say looking back as well, you didn't fall through the system. You weren't just you couldn't hide really. Even at your lowest, they were there for you, they support you, and you weren't just another kid to funnel through the system.
So then you realize the teachers must have loved you when you were here in high school and junior high at your most unlovable, you know what I mean? And I'm sure they had their moments.
Jeez. I'm very straight-laced now. What are you talking about?
You had a good heart. You like to kind of push the envelope a little bit.
Do.
And all the teachers that are still here are going to be in the audience saying,
I know, right?
He more than pushed the envelope. He
threw
it out the door.
He burnt the envelope is what he did.
Well, and I remember asking God, is this what I'm supposed, is this who I'm supposed to be with? And it was just a clear answer, and then at our wedding rehearsal dinner, I always remember his dad giving a toast. and just talking about how they always prayed for his future wife. And it always stuck with me that was me. And we met at the school, and God just orchestrated all of that. And like I said, he was talking about those, the fancy cars. And I know friends whose parents sacrificed a lot to send their kid. And I remember being very angry in that class. And maybe it was God telling me to speak up, but I said, not every kid had that. Not every kid had their parent be able to pay the tuition up front. Sometimes it was a struggle to make it monthly. So I think my reasons for encouraging people to donate is it's a sacrifice worth making to pay the tuition, and sometimes you can't. And so because of those reasons, because how important that is, I would say, to donate.